Good morning. It's me, Andre J. In front of me is a motorcycle, probably the most interesting motorcycle of the 2019 season. Why? Well, because the Polaris brand, which bought Indian in 2011, went all out with a motorcycle like this. I don't even know for what reason. At other distributors, at other manufacturers, by creating a non-cruiser motorcycle, and here it is, the FTR 1200 motorcycle, which is the first non-cruiser Indian since the brand was revived. And I'll say this, I was really curious to see if they actually pulled it off, because listen, it's really not easy to build a motorcycle from scratch, especially when you don't have much experience in this area. They mainly designed it in Switzerland. They opened a test center in Spain, so they could finally have some curves, not just straight roads like here in the United States. And in the end, they closed their eyes and said, all right, let's check it out. And they did the presentation. I'll be honest with you. At first, I was a bit skeptical about it, especially since you guys kind of steered me that way, saying, what's this? It's plastic everywhere. It's true, it's plastic here, it's plastic there, it's plastic over there. There's quite a lot of plastic on this motorcycle in places where there's no metal, because the frame is metal, the swing arm is steel. And those particular parts are actually inspired by a real flat track motorcycle. That's because Indian decided that to have a solid foundation, they first created the FTR 750 and started competing in the USA Flat Track Championship. And you know what? Well, they won everything there with that motorcycle. So once they had that foundation and a sort of leading theme, they thought, hey, let's take this motorcycle further. I wrote this machine, and let me tell you, those guys really pulled it off. Because how is it possible when creating a completely new engine to make it deliver so much fun to ride? It's just aggressive, really powerful. I'm talking especially about the torque, because it has 120 Newton meters, 123 horsepower. And that power, trust me, is absolutely sufficient for this type of motorcycle. But above all, it's about the character. It's just a wild beast. It's reminded me of those old Ducatis, old KTMs, where you twisted the throttle and you knew you were riding a massive V-twin. And here, every time you open the throttle, it's really a lot of fun. The thing that makes it a bit harder for this motorcycle to have truly extreme performance is actually its weight, because I thought these plastics were meant to reduce weight, since a flat track bike should be as light as possible. It turned out that they didn't quite manage to do that, because the machine weighs 222 kilograms, and that combined with the unusual wheel cinch, the front is 18 inches and the rear is 19 inches. Means that this is not the lightest motorcycle to handle. It's not that there's something wrong, it's just a bit harder to lean it into a turn, and changing directions is a bit more difficult. But just like I talked to all the guys here, one by one, surprisingly, we all liked it. Because after all these years, you know, when motorcycles have been getting more and more refined with smoother mass distribution and things like that, we finally get a motorcycle just the way we want it. One that stirs up emotions, one that you really have to wrestle with a bit, fight with a little to get it into a corner. I don't want you to think that you really have to fight with this motorcycle. It's just that here, you need to use more strength than with other motorcycles. And if we manage to get it to the point where it starts going fast through the corners, we get much more satisfaction from the way we ride. And once we master how to ride this machine quickly through the bends, it reveals another side of its character, because Indian describes it as a flat tracker for the street, a so-called street tracker. The naming convention there is, I smoke it somewhere. But the truth is, this bike really likes to ride sideways. And if Simon, who is filming this story, hello Simon, he was standing in the right place. So what? If he had been standing in the right place, he would have recorded how, on the first run coming out of the corner, I gave it some gas, and this rascal went so sideways that I was definitely surprised. Fortunately, everything was under control, and it turns out that if you have enough courage, you can really slide this motorcycle through the corners. Not just when entering the corner, but also on the way out. This happens among other reasons, because the rear tire, A, has a tread, which means you can ride it a bit off-road. B, it's quite narrow, since the front is a 150, and it really has to work hard to transfer all that torque and power to the asphalt. I can't help but grin when I talk about it, because I had an amazing time on today's road. Well, here's how it was. All these new motorcycles, they kind of isolate us from emotions, because they're just supposed to stick to the road, go fast, and all the systems are designed so that we ride as quickly as possible, even through corners, without any real emotion. But this one, it also has systems that work very well, because in sport or track mode, we can even ride on the rear wheel, it doesn't cut us off. The traction control works great. We can turn off the ABS, and there's cornering ABS too. So all of that is there, but at the same time, It gives you those emotions, those sensations like on old motorcycles. What else? The brakes are excellent. Today I was using those brakes all the time with just one finger. The gearbox is actually pretty decent because gearboxes are really hard to get right, especially with the V2. And then there's the sound. The sound is really good. The engine produces these, rough, buried sounds, and from the exhaust you get those pops, just like it should be. I tried once to record the sound with a special microphone. I hope it worked out and that I'll be able to show it to you. I had a lot of thoughts along the way. I hope I've shared most of them now. And if I haven't, I'll write about it, of course, in the world of motorcycles. Because you know how it is. Right now, I'm a bit hyped up from the ride, but later I'll sit down calmly, take a look at the technical specifications, check out the photos, watch some videos, and I'll be able to write more for you in the magazine. But to sum up, Indian really pulled it off. Bravo, guys, you did a great job. This motorcycle, well, it costs a lot, but in my opinion, it's really worth the price because no one else will have another Indian FTR 1200. I mean, simply put, very few people will own one, and it's a super interesting machine to have in your garage. That's it. See you in the world of motorcycles, that's all. And maybe we'll make more videos once we have this motorcycle in Poland. Take care.